a vegetable.
No, Nathan, you gotta pick one or two.
Yeah,
of these
Nathan,
games
you only
to talk
get one or
about.
two.
No, I mean, we talk about what we've been playing.
Well,
So there's only 4 games I've actually been playing. A lot of those are that.
the
like,
card.
Idolmaster.
Yeah, okay.
The ones with achievements are the ones that I've actually played. That's why I've got them
Oh,
centered up.
okay.
So you haven't
You've
been
done
playing.
an hour of Frog Detective.
Well, that's all it took.
I don't think that's worth mentioning in the title or
yeah,
something.
1 hour. I wouldn't put it. You gotta put
On
over
this
an hour.
episode, we talk about the Haunted Island, a Frog Detective game.
No, we ain't talking about that. We're gonna cut that. Price and each. Cut that.
Yeah, I guess I don't need to talk about Frog Detective.
Yeah, alright.
Poor guy.
Star Wars Squadrons doesn't even have more than an hour and a half played either.
Well,
that's
that's
because of
Idolmaster.
Idolmaster.
I know.
I definitely want to play it, but I want to play it in VR too.
Oh god, vomit. Alright, we ready? You guys done flipping these fucking pillows?
Almost.
I'm having a lot of fun with mine.
Alright, well, I'll wait. This is the game.
I mean,
you
that
guys...
one's like very.
Yeah, it's very flippy.
Yeah.
Fine.
Alright,
Centrifugal.
clap sync on 3. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to another audio-filled episode of the effing podcast. I almost always want to say movie. Effing
We've been doing it for a
Gamecast.
while.
Gamecast.
Yep.
I can't break it. I can't. I'll tell you right now. That's built into my. If I say if for whatever reason there's a company that's like labeled FN, I will say movie right afterwards, subconsciously. That will kill me one day. I'm your host, Dylan Mason Price. Except Mason isn't here. It's actually Nathan. Price, you're gonna have Mason out tomorrow, right?
Nope.
He's not gonna listen to this. He doesn't even get this joke.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Fuck you, Mason. Anyway. So we played some games between Price doing some
I can't
Disneying.
wait to actually put that in.
Yeah, that's gonna be the thumbnail. We just have that clip one. Price, you did some Disneying. Sony did some acquisitioning, and we're not talking about any of that. We're gonna just talk about games we've played because it's been an interesting week, I think. Or not?
It's probably been a little over a week since we last met up to talk about
it's been
games.
close to 2.
Yeah.
I've got some full conclusive thoughts on mine. I've got a little bit of a run back on mine, but I don't want to get into spoilers.
Yeah, so I feel like
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to avoid touching on Pokemon a little bit.
Yeah, coming
Just
back.
Kind of wrap up
We gotta wrap up
what
our
we've
thoughts.
had. I would imagine at this point. Have you beaten it?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
we've all
okay.
played through it.
Okay.
I would guess nobody's made it to the true ending.
I don't care.
I'm close, but
Is that the
I'm
one where
not
you max
trying
every
super
single
hard.
thing?
It's the one where you. I think you have to at least catch every Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I've got that.
You've done that?
Oh, yeah.
So you've got Arceus?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, so he went hard.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, there's.
I mean,
I didn't know if there was a further
Yeah, go
ending
ahead.
past that. So.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
considered the true ending.
Right.
So
I think
I
you
guess
all-
let's go ahead and
I
go
think
for
you
it.
all have caught this, that this is going to be full spoilers for Arceus.
Yeah. So spoilers, you can catch Arceus. That's it. That's the spoiler. That's really the biggest spoiler.
Yeah.
I can't give you story spoilers that doesn't exist. Like anyway, so I'm gonna leap on in. Pokemon Legends Arceus. I've completed the game, and I mean that. Except not Nathan completed, because that means I would have complete Pokedex entries of every single Pokemon, completed every single quest, and I think that's it.
Out of curiosity, did you reach max star level by the time you...
No, I'm at 9.
Like, that's the thing that I think's interesting.
Yeah, I
I saw a video of a guy going through and, like, 100%ing the decks,
Yeah.
and he was 8 stars.
Yeah.
It's...
Why? How?
Yeah, I know, right?
There was a post down there where they were like, should I have 8 stars? I'm like in the 3rd area. And I'm already at 8 stars, something like that. And you can just fucking jam
I mean,
and kill.
I guess
and
you could really just grind it out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you really can. But I get it. You know, if you said that you have 8 stars in the 3rd area, you are enjoying this game.
Yeah.
You are having fun catching.
Yeah.
You're having fun killing them. You're having fun just being. And you have to catch like 50 of these things just out of necessity because there's quests that always ask you for 1 or 2 of different variations or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was jamming.
And
Plus
that one to get, was it Buzzle or Buzz?
the Buizel, the big Buizel. I still don't have that quest completed.
That one was sitting in my log for the longest time.
It's still
like
sitting
one
in
of the
mine.
first quests that you get.
Yeah.
I ended up finding a chonker of a boy. Like, he was so
Thick
much
boy.
bigger
Yeah.
than the other ones.
I'm so jealous. I have not found anyone that was like big and bulky on that one. But so I have completed the game, narratively speaking. I caught every Pokemon, which was a little bit of a pain. I got to the point where I beat like the main story stuff, and I had to spend a whole day collecting Mouse or collecting the Wisp to get Spirit Tube.
Yeah, that's a hurdle.
That was a little rough.
There's
It's
so many.
not too bad though because there's like maps. That
I had to
posted
use the
that show
interactive
where
maps to
everything
go find
is.
it.
Is it like 20 per area?
20 per area. So there was 108 Wisp. 'cause
All to
there's
get Spirit Tube.
It's a Spirit Tube. Yeah.
Spirit Tube's not that great of a
He's
Pokemon.
not. Like I got him using it once, and I was like, he's okay. And then, but it moves along the plot, so then you can get the like the other roaming legendaries that you have to get later, and those things are challenging actually.
Yeah.
Because there's Landros, Thunderos, which is like the land, wind, and water one, but they're just flying. And what happens is they're like you see them out in the wild, but they're like running around, and they have like the wind barrier around them, so you have to throw a Pokeball or something to like break the barrier. And then you've got to like throw the ball to catch that, or like get into a fight. But you do this a couple times because they'll do it. You'll break the barrier, and they'll be like "Fuck!" and then they'll scream and they'll run away. And then you gotta chase them, and then you gotta do it again. And after like the third or fourth time, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm tired," and then you gotta like fight them and catch them. But the one on land is fine, and then there's one in the water, and you have to run with Basculin against that, and the area is full of fucking Gyarados, so there's just hyper beams left and right. I'm like slow hopping trying to hit it, and he's just throwing waves of wind at me, and like. It was the first, like, I think it's, like, the second time I've, like, died in the game, like, because it was just, like, wind, hyper beam. I was like, oh my god, what is this? But it was super, super fun. By the time you catch all those ones, and then you catch the fourth one, and then eventually you just grind it out to the point where you're like, okay, I get Giratina, I get all the sweet legendaries, now I get to go fuck with Arceus. And then you go up there, and you have, like, the trainer, like, how you did with all of the Guardians or whatever, you have, like, the, like, rolling battles. Arceus was fucking hard. He had some crazy, moveset at first.
I saw in the video him actually doing that fight, and I was like, that was a legitimately tough-looking battle.
It was notably harder than all the other ones. Like,
some of the other ones are really all over the place. Like, some of them were really easy.
Cleaver was cake.
Arcanine was pretty challenging.
Arcanine was,
like
it was a very small arena.
Yeah.
Right. Voltor, or the Electrode one, was...
That one actually took me...
That one took me a time or two.
Tries.
Yeah, I was with you.
Because the lightning balls, they just wouldn't... Like, I don't know if there's a...
Can you get rid of them?
I just ate them.
Yeah, I just figured out, like, alright, I can eat so many,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to strategically eat them, because whenever you're, like, in that immunity frame of having been hit, you can let the other ones hit you.
When you're on the ground, you just...
Then you've kind of cleared the arena.
And then you throw, like, a risky maniac at the Electrode. So, yeah, after doing that, and then going through and finding what I meant... Honestly, like, the cataloging was the hardest part, because I had to go back and be like, which ones am I missing?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck, I've got to get this item, I got to get this trade item, well, maybe this will drop, maybe they'll do this, fuck, I got to get this form of this Pokemon. And after that, I finally caught all of them. I don't have a living dex. I just have, like, all of them at some point or another, because I just was evolving here and there as I went. And that took... I think that whole process, including the Wisp and all of that, took about 2 days. And by the end of the second day, I got to Arceus, and I was doing that battle. And then you beat it, and then he just isn't a ball. You just have a level 75 one, and you're, like, at your prairie.
Yeah.
Which is sweet. So I sat there, and I'm like, cool. But it's for me, whenever I hit that finale thing in Pokemon, that I love-hate, because it's like... I started getting the other starters, and I'm like, cool, maybe I'll make, like, 3 different teams, and I'll have, like, a different composition, and I'm, like, already gaming it, which is, like, a good problem to have. I'm already like, oh, I want to raise these Pokemon up, I want to EV these ones with the rocks, and I'm, like, doing that side by side with catching Pokemon. And then, like, I catch Arceus, I'm like, alright, cool. I don't give a shit anymore. Okay, and then, it just plummets for me, narratively speaking.
It's hard to keep going after you've finished a main storyline in a lot of games, and this one... I assume, doesn't really have a post-game to keep you engaged.
No,
like you have the missions that you could clear out if you really wanted to, but there's not a strong compulsion to do that.
There's not really a need to be competitive about your Pokemon and like super grind them out or anything like that, right? You can redo the bosses.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's fine. Like, that's fine. Arceus, whenever you do rebattle him, he's level 100,
harder, right?
Yeah, versus being level 75.
Do you get to catch him again?
I'm not sure if you get to catch him.
That would be weird.
Yeah, I think you just do the boss fight. Like, I think it's just the same thing over with that.
So, has anybody seen any shinies?
I've gotten 2 shinies.
I've gotten 2 as well. What would you get?
I got the Shellos, and what was it? Was the annoying? Oh fuck, that's what it was. It was the Combee, but it was a male, so it wouldn't evolve into Vesquian. Which is the worst.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I was so mad about that. But the Shellos was pretty cool though.
I got a Driftbloom and Krogonk.
I'm jealous. I want that Driftbloom.
I don't know.
What is it? Is it blue coloring on that?
It's evolved form, which I can't remember the name of. It's yellow, like bright yellow with a light blue for its accent color, and it doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
Like, the original definitely is a better look if you were just to be like, which one would I rather have?
Right.
Like, it's noticeable that it's different. The Krogon, he looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, whenever he evolves, he's like very like neon, like like light pink and purple, or light pink and light blues and stuff. So he's pretty cool.
Right.
So I wanted to hear everybody, since we've all beaten it. I want like we do for our movie podcast. I want to hear everybody's score along with their final thoughts of the game.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I'll start off on that. I'm going to give this a very strong 8.5. This does not necessarily reflect the barriers that I have for my movies, but I'll sit there and say that 8.5 puts it as it has been the most refreshing Pokemon has been in a very long time. And honestly, the replay in a single save file, not super there. If it would have like replayability and stuff like that, I'd probably push it to a 9, even with the flaws in place, just because I'm just honestly that relieved that it's a good Pokemon game. And if I wanted to play like a new save file, which is the traditional playing a new Pokemon and replaying it again, I think I would have just as much fun catching through and playing with a different like starter and playing through with this and a new team and stuff like that, because there's enough diversity in this game to be there. I had so much fun with this game. It has flaws. It's not perfect. Some of the quests are boring. None of the story is super interesting at all.
That's a big part of it.
I'm not really asking for that out of this game, though. Now, in future games, if they try to push a story and they're really trying to push it forward, that's great. But I don't feel like this game even cares about its story.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
No, I think that it
wholeheartedly.
I think somebody was
oh my God.
what is the bare minimum we can have?
That is not true.
I think it's so true.
It is so on rails, the beginning of the game for the first, 2 hours, and then the last, hour. No, probably 2 hours, because you have to go through those 3 challenges or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all story. You can't get through it. You can't get back to the gameplay that you want to do, and it forces story into your head with all the dialogue. You have to just
I'll tell you.
tap A
I was
through.
gonna say, my experience with the game is I ignored the story because it's a Pokemon game.
Yes.
So I just clicked A very quickly through all the dialogue, and I would read the first couple of words out of everything, just I get it. I get it. I'm playing Pokemon. All right, I want to get back to actually playing the game.
Right.
So I don't really. I was thinking, as I went through and did that, I was like, whenever I'm done with this game, I'll maybe watch a video where somebody tells me what the story to this game was, because I don't care to actually read through all this dialogue.
Off podcast, I want to ask you what the rough idea of you think what the storyline is, and I want to see how far it is from actually what it is. So.
I am piggybacking off that to go into my review, because this story is by far the thing I dislike the most about this. As you all know from our movie...
More than the visuals that everybody hates?
Yes. Honestly, more because the movie
the visuals didn't bother me.
Completely
the visuals are fine.
non-issue.
No, I agree.
As you all say, I've told you all multiple times in our movie podcast, I want to be, if I'm engaged with something, if I'm watching a movie, if I'm playing a game, I'm doing that. I'm not multitasking. I'm not on my phone. I'm not doing any of this. If I'm on my phone during a movie, I have checked out. I do not like that movie. If I'm watching something while I'm playing a game, I have checked out. And that's not what I want for my content. I know that's what other people disagree with. Nathan does other things. I respect that, but that's not
Nathan
how
takes a shower.
That's personally not how I consume.
Oh, for real, I've done that.
God
I
damn
used
it.
to have a phone mount in the
Oh
shower.
my God.
And I would be watching videos and stuff.
It's the worst.
Like,
Shut up, Nathan. Say
like
less.
I couldn't ever get it turned off. I've at least gotten a little better.
Yeah.
I don't do that. If I'm paying $60 for a game, I want that game. That game should be fully entertaining me and holding my attention. This game did not do that. When I was out in the field actually catching Pokemon, just no cares in the world, that was fun. It was pretty disappointing that the world is so bland. The Pokemon are basically just sauntering around in a circle waiting for you to catch them.
Yeah.
They are not engaged in the world. I don't feel like I'm a part of the world, and I think the story by far is just so terrible. Dropping in from the sky. I almost compare it to Scarlet Nexus like I did a few weeks ago, and I despise that story. I dropped out. The gameplay kept me entertained on this, and I will not assuage my score saying, it's Pokemon. You know you're not going to get a good story. You know you're not going to get too much new. They did a good job. It's something different. it's still a game I paid $60 for. Just like movies, like I'm taking all that out. Like I'm paying attention to what I paid for, what I enjoyed, and I'm not gonna completely kill this game. I'll probably give it a 4 because the gameplay still is fun, but it needs to be more. Like the Pokemon, like maybe less Pokemon, and they have more interactions with each other. Not so much like Monster Hunter style, where like they fight each other and do all this stuff. Maybe that not engaged. I'm not going to expect that much, but like at least they acknowledge each other. Like if there's a Ghastly and a Driftbloom next to each other, maybe they're like, you look like just look at each other for a second. That's it.
Like
I agree. There's more interactivity that I would like that.
It feels like you're in a world where everything's just kind of there
Chilling.
to be
Caught. Yeah.
used and not.
These are
not
these
actually,
are sex dolls.
like if they took Pokemon Snap and the kind of interactions and stuff going on there, if they could have rolled that into this game, that would be great.
Yeah.
I agree that there's just because it's Pokemon, that's not a reason to hold back on it with the score. Yes, it is the best one that's been made probably ever, in my opinion. I think all the other Pokemon games have been the same game. Like Donkey had a
I watched that.
I like that we all watched Donkey's review.
Pokemon
they finally made a new Pokemon. Yeah.
And he's totally right. It's been the same game. So it's cool to see that there's a new game that's been released, but it's humble beginnings.
Right. The basics are there. The fundamentals are there.
Yeah.
I hope they expand.
It's a strong skeleton without the bones.
Yeah, I hope that this is the beginning and it's something that they iterate on and not something that they just decide that this is a new track on which they can produce. Like that they could just keep doing remakes of the original series and then have this as another style that they release, but that they don't iterate on or improve upon in meaningful ways. The problem with Pokemon ultimately is that they don't have very good competition because nobody
wants
really,
to touch being anything like Pokemon.
Well, people do, but nobody wants to play them. Because it's not Pokemon.
Right.
So it feels like Temtem is the closest thing to it.
What was the one that you posted with guns or something like that?
Oh my god, Power World.
Yeah,
that's Power World. Man, that one's so in a different direction that I think it'll be fun to play it.
That one looks almost like Fortnite, which pissed me off on.
But Temtem is one that I think is a good example of that should be a game that gets people that play Pokemon interested in it and interested in playing it and drives the producers of Pokemon into actually doing something better. But I don't think it does because I don't know about you, but I am not interested in playing that game even though I'm interested in playing Pokemon games and know Pokemon games aren't good and that's probably better than Pokemon games.
No,
but it's just because it doesn't have Pokemon in it.
I'm conditioned, right? I have no affiliation with any of these things, so I don't care about them.
It's like those are just some. They might as well be fucking Neopets.
I will say that problem doesn't translate for Digimon for me though. The Digimon Cyber Sleuth games and a couple of these more recent ones and stuff. If you had those side by side, those were fine for me.
But yeah, score wise, I guess ultimately, it's hard. I want to give it lower. But I think I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
I think that's a good score.
It's heading in the right direction. It's finally come above the bar of mediocrity that it's been for such a long time.
That's a fair technical score. I'd give it if I didn't enjoy the game so damn much, I would. Yeah, technically, I would say it's closer to that.
Honestly, I did enjoy it, but I just feel like if I say that it's an 8. Then
they'll get complacent. Now they're this is fine.
There's not a lot of room for them to make a better game.
All right, Nintendo.
Clearly, there is a lot of room for them to make a better game.
Sure, Nintendo Game Freak. If you're listening to this, my score is actually a 6 for the technical purposes. Disregard that 8 from earlier. This could be much better.
That's the thing. It's just when it comes to a Pokemon game, if I'm rating it as a Pokemon game. It's met me a little above halfway finally, but there's still a whole lot more that it could do.
It's finally gone from jerking to sucking, but it hasn't been fucking yet. That's my barriers in games. It's jerking is probably around anything up to a 6.
It's a unique scale.
7 to 8 is sucking. 8.5 and up is fucking. It's finally fucking me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm fucking with it.
We'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we've all kind of talked about that, but do we want to kind of go through what everybody else has been playing?
Oh yeah. You want to do like a 7-minute block each on that one and that one?
That's fine.
I'll go ahead and I'll finish out my thoughts on this one because I guess it's technically in my slot still. I have gone back to a tried and true classic of mine.
Persona.
No.
Dang.
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Fucking love that game. Let me tell you, of all my games, would you have guessed that game is the game I've probably put the most hours in? Unquestioned.
Really?
Unquestionable.
More than Final Fantasy?
Unquestionable. Even more than Final Fantasy. And I have a shit ton of hours in Final Fantasy.
All I know from that is that I should never play against you in a fighting game.
No, I'm rusty. Even if I go back, I get destroyed.
We'll still get destroyed.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Strangely, I will tear you guys apart on Ultimate.
The horsey game?
Yeah. No, I'll say, well, the funny thing is, I think objectively, I'm better at Street Fighter V than I am with Ultimate, despite playing like billions more hours over in Ultimate. I don't know the hours because they don't record it in-game, but I can tell you from the years 2000... Technically 2010 because regular Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was out and I was still playing it there, so hours carry over because it's just DLC effectively. Cumulatively, I played it almost probably every day from 2010 well into 2015.
Okay.
Almost every day. And I still go on again, off again playing it just because it's just like, fuck, this game's fun.
You don't touch my league hours.
No, I think this one crushes your league.
I
believe if I could find the hours and put it up, I would.
There's no way.
But they don't have a recorded online hour thing.
I spent 5 hours playing the league last night.
Yeah, I played literally Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom when you were born.
It's just wild to me, like how everybody's interest in the hobby of gaming is so drastically different. Like, I could never imagine being compelled to play a fighting game. It's only something that I've ever wanted to play casually.
Same
if some
here.
other friends said that they wanted to play it, it's like, okay.
You say that, but you
want to play
geek
Smash?
out in Smash,
we'll
though.
play some Smash.
Yeah, see, Smash, but that's more casual. Like,
we agree.
I played that a lot when I was little, like on the GameCube, but since then...
And we agree, it's not really a fighting game.
But I'd never play those games unless I'm in a room where other people want to play those games.
Same.
See, and that for me is why, so Marvel vs. Capcom, 2, back whenever I was a kid, was the one that, put me over. I played it, and I was just like, this game's fucking sweet. I get to play as fucking Captain America? What the fuck is Mega Man doing here? And it was just all that stuff. And then Marvel 3 came out, and that was, that was just my jam. So that was... 09 was right around when I peaked into fighting games, and it's like a meme in the fighting community. You're an 09er, right? That you just started playing fighting games, and Marvel is probably your intro, and Street Fighter 4 was around that time, but I didn't play 4. But yeah, so I started playing Marvel at that time, and I can't tell you what it is. It's the art style, it's the game itself. It's just so I'll put it this way, right? If we're talking about Street Fighter, we're talking about a very grounded footsies, and that's a term that's used in to sit there and say it's very you know what this punch goes this, and then you hit them and counter. It's very, you go and then I go, you go, I go. It's very chess, right?
Guilty Gear?
No, Guilty Gears are a little bit more crazy. Okay, so then there's anime fighting games, right? Anime fighting games typically aren't as grounded, as footsies, right? Street Fighter feels very fighting game chess.
Fighting with a dolphin in Guilty Gear is not...
Surprisingly, no. Yeah, Guilty Gear... So it probably goes Guilty Gear next, because it's wacky. It does have some footsies, but it is... there's enough wacky stuff going on that it just puts it over.
What's the next tier? What's the...
I think truly at the top is Marvel and there's a couple other random anime games that are just absurd. It's one of those games that it's when everything's broken, nothing's broken. And I love that about it. So... all the characters have potential. There are some clearly much stronger characters and janky stuff, but they have an X Factor system, right? So how it works is you have a team of 3. You have a character that's on the screen, Perlin has a character on the screen, and then you have 2 assists you can kind of call in. They pop in, they do 1 move, and then they leave, right? Huh. So that's a general system. So, and then you fight until you kill a character, and then the second character comes out, and then you only have 1 character left, then it comes that. So the X Factor thing, the point, the real giant gimmick, really, in Ultimate Marvel is... you'll sit there and you can just pop an X Factor at any time, which just powers up your character and it improves their speed, damage, and frame advantage and stuff like that. It just says normally if you do a move that's oh, I can hit you afterwards and punish you for it. Sometimes it's so fast that you can't do shit. Your character's on crack at this point, right? And at level 3, so it powers up with more of your characters dying. At level 1, you pop it and none of your characters died. It makes you a little bit better. If one of your characters is dead and you've only got 2 left and you pop it on the second character, you're moving pretty good. You die on the last character, I'm still fucking playing this game. I lost all my characters, and you have all 3, and I could still fucking kill you and just run it all the way back. and it just has so much chaos and mayhem into the built-in engine that just works. Yeah, and like to date, people are still finding like new random tech that you can do with the game. Like it's nuts. Like it still has so many layers to it, and I love it. And I'd love for a real Marvel follow-up to come up. Now you might say, oh wait, was there like a Marvel Infinite game? No, there wasn't. We don't talk about it. It does have some good ideas, but the game's fucking bad, and it looks way uglier somehow from a game that's like 6 years later. The point is, I love this fighting game. It has been one of these ones where I just Virgil from Devil May Cry with like, I don't know, Captain America and Iron Man. Then let's just fuck it up. We're the Avengers, baby, and I got Virgil here, and I'm doing all this wacky stuff. It's the same. It's all the same reasons that people play like Smash. It's just like you see characters that you're familiar with and you like, and you're like, this is fun. But actually, like playing this game versus Smash. Smash I liked as a kid, and then I played other fighting games, and I'm like, man, Smash feels really bad now. That's always been my mentality.
You still like the Mario Party factor of Smash?
No, Mario
items.
No, I don't. Items make it more interesting objectively. It's honestly because the competitive stuff they don't have items, and I find that really boring because it's mostly dodge rolling, moving, kicking up and down, and cliff hugging so people can't fucking get up there. Like I get the professional side of it, and every now and again there's like Evo, you'll get like a hype moment, and I'll be like, okay, that's pretty fucking cool. But by and far, it's just those kind of games usually are just hit or miss for me.
That's because he's bad at that fighting game.
No, it's because I don't care about it, and that's why I'm not bad at it.
I don't care about
You're right. Okay, so then you're bad at it. And all right, and I'm probably, you know what? Fair. I'm probably bad at it because I don't play it. Why would I be good at it? I don't play it because I don't like it. I like Marvel. I like Street Fighter now. I came around to it. It's gotten more wacky over time. And that's where I go. Wacky, but still fun. There's a healthy balance in the middle where there's too much wacky that's just like, this game doesn't make sense. Like, them fighting herds and stuff like that. Like, that one's a little too wacky. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Everything, like, it's close. It's like, everything's a little busted, I think. But then I'm like, I don't know. This game probably has depth, but I'm just not going to play it to find out. Anyway, so I've just been nostalging. Nostalgia Tour. It's finally wrapping up. We're getting into Horizon Zero Dawn next week. And then Elden Ring after that. Spoilers.
For two of you.
For two of us.
Oh, you're not gonna...
I'm gonna wait.
No, he's not gonna play Elden Ring ever. He's never played a FromSoft game. He doesn't like them.
Not a fan.
They're too hard for him. He likes Baby Smash. He likes holding.
They're too hard for me. Just like a game that's really easy that I'm going to be talking about, and that is I replayed Cuphead.
Oh.
The Netflix
it's
shows.
It's a baby's game.
The Netflix, yeah, it looks like a baby's game. It's a cartoon game.
It is a baby's game.
I just replayed that. I got done with Arceus, and then I was like just looking at my Switch, just like I want to play something good. And I saw I had Cuphead installed.
Have you tried Pokemon Legends Arceus?
Oh my god!
Just cue that back up.
Have both of you beaten it?
I've never played it.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me for you. That seems so good.
Bullet hells like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Side-scrolling bullet hells are never really my cup of tea.
Oh man,
it's really hard. To be fair, it's really hard. Yeah. There are multiple bosses that I just beat my head against for an hour, just playing that same boss over and over. But it's such a good aesthetic, and it's got such good music, and it feels super tight, even though it's on the Switch. Every single time, and it's a super fair game, unlike something like Sekiro, in my opinion.
No, I think that's the easiest and fairest game.
It just like every time I died in Cuphead, I was just mad at myself because I just like wasn't quick enough. I didn't do something. It was all my fault rather than being mad at the game. So I really like it. Love it. I mean, I'd give it like a 9.
What was it, Chalice Girl or something like that? The thing that they added, or maybe
they're going to. They're adding a DLC to it. I don't know when. Sometime soon, I think, because the show's coming out soon.
Can you also just say I'm not excited about the show at all?
I'm not really either.
I think it's a dumb idea.
I just saw the show and I was like, I'll play Cuphead. But I saw the show and it doesn't have the thing that's so unique about the game is that every frame is hand drawn. Everything is hand drawn, and it's not. The show's not like that. It's like computer animated. It's like that takes.
I feel like you're missing the whole point of it, right?
Yeah,
like yeah.
And I really like that. It does have that guy from Whose Line Is It Anyway? I forgot.
Drew Carey.
No, one of the actors. I forgot his name. He's playing King Dice, which I think is really cool. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Love him. So hopefully they do something fun with him. That'd be neat.
Yeah. White people love Wayne Brady. That's a Dave Chappelle point, and he's right.
But I love that game. I haven't really had time, even though it's been like 2 weeks since we met. I went to Disney, got engaged, so that takes a bit of time.
Shout out to you, Cal. Junior.
She won't be listening to this. She listened to our Resident Evil one because we played through that together. She listened through
what
that part.
Oh yeah, we did talk about Resident Evil on the podcast.
One of our first ones.
Oh yeah, we did.
But yeah, I've pretty much only been playing Cuphead, League as always on the side, Runeterra, a couple games, but nothing too major. I think the next game I'm wanting to break into, I haven't decided. I'm thinking about doing Breath of the Wild, but I'm thinking that maybe a bit too much to chew on when Horizon's coming out Friday.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch a game that's gonna take too long. That's for me why I was padding into like Ultimate or something like that. I'm like, I need something that I can play and be fine with just putting it away again once it's like a week from now.
Yeah, and Breath of the Wild may not be that because it's such a chunky game and you really want to enjoy it. And have you played it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I still haven't beaten it. I played it for like 6 hours. I don't know. Zelda games.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. I think it's probably really fun, but I've just never got to the point where I'm like my brain works in the Zelda way.
I didn't 100% it, but I beat
Ganon
quite a lot.
Did you beat Ganon?
With like the true ending and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So you Legend Arceus it then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm excited for the new Breath of the Wild, but that's beside the point. I don't know what I'm going to play next, just because Horizon's coming out Friday and all my
play Sifu. Get mad at it. That seems like a game that you would hate.
Yeah, especially because I don't have the fighting background, like actual fighting like you do. Like that just seems like that game is just going to be way above my pay grade, and I would just get my ass kicked over and over and not be able to do anything about it. Cuphead at least has platforming elements into it, and I'm really good at platforming. Fighting games, no. Completely off the table.
I mean, whatever. You just learn a Shoryuken motion. It's fine. You just go Dragon Punch. it's right.
I thought it was like Hadouken. I thought you went Hadouken.
No,
like
Hadouken, different motion. It's down forward, right? So it's this motion.
I don't know any of this.
Versus
Do you know any of this?
Dragon Punch is boom, boom, boom.
I don't know any of this, but beat Cuphead. Super enjoy it. Would recommend. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's like 3 or 4 years old at this point. Yeah. That's really all I've been playing because I beat Arceus when I got back from Disney and then beat Cuphead. So nothing too much going on over here. What about you, Frog Boy?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did play Frog Detective, but I'm not.
Frog Detective. Just give a quick blurb. Yeah, I just want to know what it is. You put 0.8 hours into it, I think.
Yeah, it's
like
just
45
this
minutes.
dumb, short little game that I knew I could very quickly 100% the achievements in.
There's 6.
Yeah.
Play the game. In the game.
There's one missable achievement. Otherwise, real easy. You knock it out. It's this short little comedy. It's not that funny. It's.
This would get a poor score as a movie, though.
I was surprised how short it was and how barely a game it was. So yeah, don't recommend it unless you want to just add another game with 100% achievements to your account. So another game that I played quite a bit of was actually Vampire Survivors. I wasn't actually interested in this game, but I saw so many people on my friends list playing it, and it was only $3, and I was like, well, for $3, I just want to see why everybody's playing this. And, I have a friend on there that's played over 100 hours of this game.
Does it have that depth?
No.
He just is bored.
So I will say I did play quite a lot of it. You can see
18 hours, yeah.
And here's the thing about that. This game requires your attention. You can't really sit and AFK it.
Well, what is it? What is the game?
So, we had talked about Cuphead being a bullet hell.
Yep.
Well, in this, you're the bullet hell. So it's a game where you are being attacked by just waves and waves of monsters while you're gathering powers that have you shooting beams and stuff out from you, and you're just basically trying to make yourself into more and more of an impenetrable
So is this tower defense then?
No, it's not tower defense.
The concept makes me think of Loop Hero in a sense.
It's all out of view, but you're moving around you're trying to dodge stuff, but none of the enemies shoot projectiles or anything, so they're not really that threatening. You're just kind of grinding them out just to get the stuff you need in order to progress. But the game, I think it's every match lasts 30 minutes at most.
Is this PvP?
No.
Wow.
Okay.
No. I could probably show you guys after. It's such a simple game. But it's got a progression system, and it's got a bunch of interesting unlocks where it's if you build your character a certain way, you can get a better special version of certain weapons in that particular run. It's a roguelike in the sense that you get coins from your playthroughs that you can then use to permanently upgrade your character. You get ridiculously overpowered. like right off the bat, later on once you've unlocked all this stuff, you will not have a challenge on any level. The reason I say that it's 30 minutes that the game runs in any given match is because after 30 minutes, Death shows up and will kill you. You can't hurt him, he will kill you, and that's just to end your run. Because otherwise, you could probably get to the point where it would run almost endlessly. Like, towards the end of any given run, I would like get up and go grab a drink or something like that and just leave it running because I had won at that point.
Can you dodge death? Like, is that like a concept?
No. So I would like build myself to see how far I could go with death, like how many seconds I could last. But that time lasting was only like, having shields, so you had to like hit through your shields, or having resurrections to where you would just pop back up. Nothing meaningful, doesn't really do anything. I will say if you have resurrection still by the time he kills you, then you'll get more gold at the end of the game is one thing I noticed. But honestly, it's an alright game. It's compelling enough, but it's one of those ones where it's like it absolutely did not require my full attention, and I don't see why anybody would. I only played it as much as I ended up playing it just because I was trying to 100% it. And there were a couple of achievements that I did have a bit of a trick trying to get. Mostly because I later realized I just wasn't building the character the correct way to get certain things to unlock to get those last couple of achievements. But yeah, it's weird. I'm really unsure why some of my friends have played it so much.
Which friend played it 100 hours? I want this person exposed. Like, who is this?
Well, it's my friend Corey. You guys don't know him.
I don't know you, Corey, but you're crazy.
It's odd. Like, I almost wonder if he just, like, I feel like surely he just had it left on his computer or something.
Yeah, I just turned it on and then...
He forgot to...
I don't know how people can do that. Like, that drives me insane, that there's just a game running somewhere on a computer in my house. Like, I paid the electricity bill. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so it was just one of those things where it's like, I gotta know. And it was alright. I mean, I didn't dislike the game, but...
It wasn't a 100-hour game for you.
No. It shouldn't have been as long as it was.
It wasn't even an 18-hour game for you.
Yeah. The other game that I played and finished up was Islanders. Super chill game. Like, it's just it's kind of like a god game where you just are given like a bunch of stuff where it's like a lumberjack and like a sawmill and stuff like this, and you are at an island and you just place down that lumber mill and it gives you points, and then you place down the sawmill next to the lumber mill to get points, but you can't build two sawmills near one another or you might get some negative points.
Just like
it's just game. Like a it's just kind of a puzzle of trying to figure out how to best use whatever island it's randomly generated for you, and you just try and see how far you can go and how many points you can end up scoring.
You 100%ed it.
Yeah, really, really nice, super chill game. I definitely recommend it. I didn't overplay it the way I did Vampire Survivors, so to 100% it, I would say it's pretty accurate that it's like just shy of a 4-hour game.
Oh, it's not bad.
And I could see continuing to play it just for the fun of like making the best looking island that you can. It's pretty nice.
Before we sign off, I got two things real quick. First, could you visit my Steam page real quick?
Sure.
I just want to show you something. And while you're pulling that up, I want to tell you all a story about Genshin Impact that I had last week.
My gosh, okay.
So I've been saving my pulls for like a year.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll explain to you all how I use.
You're trying to get the skins that win. Yeah, you're a League player. We get it.
I was trying to get a character because like the character that you get, like you play with, so like it's actually like a big deal that you get them.
For God's sakes, Prince. Why?
Can you tell the listeners what you're looking at?
So I'm seeing Putin and Trump nodding along on the side of the screen.
You got the profile background on Steam that is Trump and Putin to either side of you. Is that what you wanted?
That was it.
Oh, okay.
I hate you, Price.
One more thing I wanted to mention too, because I said that last time I was going to get into playing this game. I played a game called Lost in Random. It so far has not really grabbed me in the way that I had hoped. It kind of felt like it was going to be an Alice in Wonderland almost kind of experience, and the writing's okay, the gameplay's okay, but it's not as good as it looked like it would be just based on the store page and like the quality of the artwork on the game. Like the game looks good, but much of what you're doing feels kind of wonky. It's a deck building game, but it's also a combat, like, third person action combat game, and you gather up crystals by shooting a slingshot at the enemies to get gems to fall off of them, and use those crystals to then roll your dice, and then that dice gives you points that you use to play the cards that you've been gathering.
Like all of the plots of Yu-Gi-Oh! Put together in one arc.
It's kind of all over the place, and it makes the combats, like, though I feel like that's where they put the most thought into the game, the combats are where you're just like, okay, here we go. I'm about to spend, like, way too long on this fight, because every fight just takes forever in that game.
This is my plug. Just play the Final Fantasy trading card game. It's much better. Anyway, yeah, you were talking about Genshin getting fucked by Japanese studios.
Yeah.
So in a year, I saved up 180 wishes.
Okay.
Remember, you get a 5-star character that you want every 100. Like, you're guaranteed 100, but you can get it before then. But you can also get a 5-star that's not the one you're pulling for. It can be a different one. And if
so
you
you're trying to get your 5-star man.
And if you get the one that's not the one on the banner, you're guaranteed the next time, but it could be another 100.
Right.
I spent 130, my 180 to get one guy, and I was really wanting the other girl. I spent the other 50, didn't get her. Got another 20 saved up in game. I got one I didn't want. So the next one I pulled will be guaranteed, but the banner runs out in like 5 days after that. So
you know what that means, guys.
So you think the wallet's coming out, but you're wrong. I shit you not. I was in the dentist office and I got one wish while playing the game. It gave me one wish, and I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. See what happens. Get like a shitty weapon I don't need. Used it one single pull and got the character that I've been like wanting for like a year. I couldn't believe it.
So did you just leave the dentist after?
Like you served my purpose.
Fuck yeah!
Don't need to clean my teeth. I am out of here.
I'm feeling fresh and looking good.
Oh my god.
We haven't even done anything. Fuck you.
Oh man. I mean.
So now that you have that character, what does that mean for you?
Basically, like, I can do any content in the game because she's so good, and I already pre-farmed all the materials needed for her to level up to where she needs to be. Like, I did all that beforehand.
So you got all of her lollipops and suckers that level her up?
Pretty much. Like,
is it actually lollipops and suckers? Because if it is, I'm going to say this is a pedo game. Like,
it's not, but that's pretty much...
It's in your free candy van
like,
that levels
I farmed for, like, 3 months beforehand to get all of her materials. So, like, if I didn't get her, it'd be pointless. But I did, and I just, like, here you go. So now I can do all in-game content, all that good stuff. But
what's mine look like?
I'm sorry.
What does your profile look like?
Yeah.
Do you have a background?
No.
You don't even have. You haven't bought one. You have a bunch of Steam points.
I know. I have like infinite Steam points. I've just.
Oh.
You can now actually go to me. I don't exist.
You might have your profile set to private.
Do it? No.
No.
See, I told you.
That's all you got.
Now, Steam, mind you, does not reflect my play because this has been on PlayStation 3 to 4 to 5.
Oh yeah, I'm always on PlayStation. That's where all my stuff is too.
Right. Well, you see 20 hours
than
just
you.
on that.
I'm level 10 apparently. Nathan is 91.
I don't know what any of that means. I don't care.
I don't really know the reference, but that's a lot.
It's pretty high. Just the other day I was trying to do, not to get too far into the weeds on this, but Steam has a whole system for leveling up, and you use those cards to level up. But you could just sell those cards, right?
Sure.
So I did the math, because one of the other things that happens with leveling up is every 10... No, I can't remember if it's every 10 or every 20 levels. It's every 10 levels you get 20% more chance of getting booster packs, which are a thing that are dropped by games whenever somebody else crafts a badge out of the cards that you could be selling.
Sure.
That makes my head explode.
So, you yourself have to make badges if you want to level up. I did the math on how many of those cards that I could sell to make money or I could turn into badges. It would take 13 years for me to actually turn a profit on going from level 90 to level 100 based on how many cards I would be using to make those badges and how much I could just sell them for versus investing into my profile in order to have that 20% higher chance of getting booster packs.
So what you're saying is profile does not equal stonks. Do not invest.
I'm saying there is a tremendous amount of diminishing return, and unless you want to, like, you know, when I say invest, I mean like $25 in badges is how, like $25 in cards is how much I would have to spend.
I've got 3 badges for those wondering on my profile. I'm level 8.
How many Stanley Nickels does that translate to, Nathan?
A lot.
So you got 3 badges.
I've got
127.
And that's also, so badges level up, so I've got like multiple level 5 badges.
I don't speak Steam.
Like,
I don't either. I didn't know there was a whole system within it.
Nah.
Sony's like, you play the game, you get a trophy, and it's
they're like, here's your fucking trophy. Shut up about it. Like, and then that's it.
You can get real deep with it. Like, the thing I was doing was trying to figure out the math
God,
of how profitable I could make my account for me, to where I could like basically get free games. And supposed to be on average, I should be able to get about a booster pack a week now, which means I get like 30 cents a week. Raising your odds by 20% really only raises it by about like I think 11 or something % in like your actual odds.
Price didn't do well at math. Can you explain this in English?
I didn't catch that.
I've gone way too deep.
We've gone too deep.
He definitely has.
You did start
literally
this.
Nobody. I was like,
I love that you start. I'm not gonna get too deep into the weeds.
As deep as possible.
It goes into the fucking ravine.
Yeah, it's like here's something nobody else ever thinks about: trying to find a way to make their Steam account profitable.
I don't care. I'll make money elsewhere. I'll suck a dick before I do all this. I won't lie. I'll find other ways to make money other than doing this.
Doing math.
Yeah, I can't. I love algebra, and I'm furious at this. But
I get so obsessed with just.
No, we know.
You do.
You do. All right. That's our show, everybody. Make sure to tune in next week. We're gonna talk. I don't know what the hell we're gonna talk about. We don't know. We'll tell you when we get here.
We'll talk about what we played next.
Yeah, we'll talk about what we played
then
next.
It might be Elden Ring.
You know, well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
We could bite into Horizon. Because that'll be out Friday.
We'll have a Horizon.
We should be meeting Sunday. We didn't talk about that earlier.
Whoops. Well, I blame Mason.
Mason will be there tomorrow.
Well, Mason's like, cut that. Mason's not there tomorrow. My wife's shaving. Everybody, man, that's your evening tonight. Make sure to tune in next week for probably Horizon, and I don't know what else is going on. I might play Wolf Among Us again, just because the Wolf Among Us.
I'm probably gonna play Lost Ark.
Okay. Bye.